Hi, I'm Dr. Adam Millman, and I'd like to share with everyone another insightful story from a recent wedding that I attended in Lakewood, New Jersey. At the beginning of the wedding, I noticed something peculiar. There was a large number of young men that had arrived that dressed differently and spoke differently than everyone else that was there. I quickly realized through some questioning of the bride and the groom and the families that these were not people that had been invited to the wedding. I thought that they were wedding crashers, and one of the reasons I would like to share this story with everyone is because it contains what I'd like to call a double paradigm shift. A paradigm shift is when you completely change how you view something or understand something, how you relate to something. Examples in history are the way scientific inquiry changed from Aristotle with the arrival of Francis Bacon, and then by the time Newton comes along, the understanding of the world based on what Aristotle taught was changed. It was called a paradigm shift. And then with Isaac Newton, his theories of physics changed with the arrival of Albert Einstein in the 20th century. And what it did is it completely changed how something was understood. So I looked at these guys that showed up at the wedding that were uninvited, eating food and drinking and not knowing anyone that was there. They didn't even know the bride or the groom. I thought they were wedding crashers, because in my mind, from my childhood, when you show up at a wedding and you're not invited, you're a wedding crasher. So I went to speak with them because I do like to judge everyone favorably, and before I make a very, very foolish mistake and decide that I know what these guys are doing and what their motivation is and the kind of people they are, maybe go and inquire. And I started speaking with them, and they said, "We're here to dance for the bride and the groom. We're the dancers." And I said, "For compensation, because no one knows who you are?" No, not for money. We come to dance at weddings to make people happy, to make the bride and the groom happy. I said, "I've never even heard of that." Now, just because I've never heard of it doesn't make it so. And later I found out, and you'll see from you've seen from the video clip, that they are in fact the dancers. I have never seen guys like this dance at a wedding before, and their sole purpose was to come and just make people happy. I thought that was amazing, and it totally changed the way I saw them from the time I first saw them until just a few minutes later by going and speaking with them. Now, the other paradigm shift occurred after the wedding, and I had a nice long discussion with these boys, and it turned out, as I had said in a previous video, that there seems to be a problem with self-image in parts of the community with certain boys. There is this high emphasis on intelligence, how smart you are, and then as in the rest of American society, and I assume maybe other societies around the world, emphasis on what you look like, how attractive somebody is. And this can come in very, very, very subtle and have very drastic effects on a young mind. So it goes something like this: you're such a beautiful young girl, you're such a handsome young man, and the sibling is sitting next to the beautiful young girl or the handsome young man, and they don't get that compliment. So they think, well, I'm not handsome, or I'm not beautiful, or I'm not attractive, and that's really what seems to be valued. And then the other one is intelligence. You're such a smart young man. You're such a smart young girl. How did you get to be so smart? How did this happen now? How are you so smart at such a young age? How do you know that? Now, if you're the sibling sitting next to, or you're the classmate sitting next to the person that's just complimented, and you're not given that compliment, then it's going to minimize your value, because it seems as if intelligence and looks seem to be what matters. And I think that this is a big problem, because you can't change what you look like. I mean, without plastic surgery, you can't change what you look like, and you really can't change with the intelligence that you have been born with. But you can always learn more. But is that really even the issue? Intelligence and looks are not the keys to success. When we hire people at our medical office in Las Vegas, we don't really ask people how smart they are, and there's not really that big of a concern what they look like. Those things do not really matter very much. And those aren't the keys to success in life. So I asked the boys, so if intelligence is so important and looks are so important, are these the keys to success? It seemed to be a look of confusion. Like, well, obviously these are the things that matter. And I said, do you guys keep your word? He said, yeah, of course, keep our word. I asked, you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Absolutely. I said, do you tell the truth? Of course you tell the truth. Why would we not tell the truth? I said, are you eager to learn? Are you enthusiastic? Yeah, always want to learn. I said, do you have integrity? I said, when you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Do you live by principles? If you see a wallet laying on the ground and there's identification and you know who it belongs to, would you return it? Absolutely. Learn that from a very young age, that you return things to people. It's not yours, it belongs to somebody else. I said, if you're doing a job and somebody gave you constructive criticism and said that this is a way that you might want to try to do it differently in order to be better, would you take the criticism well? Of course. The goal is to try to make us better. Absolutely, we'd take the criticism. I said, what about when other people do well? Do you feel good for them? Absolutely. They're our friends and they're working hard and they succeed. Feel good for them too. It's okay for other people. There's enough success to go around for everyone. I said, right. So you tell the truth, you keep your promises, you have integrity, you show up on time, you're eager to learn, and when people do well around you, you're proud of them, and you take criticism well. I said, if you were in Las Vegas, you could apply to a job at our office, and we'd be very interested in hearing what you had to say, because you have the values that we're looking for. You have the core qualities of success. And notice I didn't add, we're not going to ask you what you look like, and we're not going to ask you how smart you are. You have the qualities of success. And everyone that's watching this video has these qualities to one degree or another. No one can say that they've never had integrity in their life. They've never been eager to learn. They've never been enthusiastic. They've never been truthful. They've never kept their promises. No one can say that. Now, we may emphasize one or another at specific times in our life, but we all have these qualities in us, and we've all displayed them in the past. So when we realize that these qualities are in us, we can cultivate them and focus on them, because those are the qualities that will get you ahead no matter what you do in life. Whether you're working at a medical office, or you're working at a library, you're working in a grocery store, you're selling cars, selling real estate, it doesn't matter. If you have these qualities, you'll be successful. And it doesn't matter what you look like, and it doesn't matter how smart you are. Those things will not guarantee your success. These other qualities will. And these kids realize that. Yeah, I do have these qualities. I said, yeah, you do. And those qualities can be learned. These are not things that you have to be born with. You can learn to be enthusiastic. You can learn to have more integrity. You can learn to accept criticism better. You can learn these things. And if you can learn them, then they're not born with them. And if you're not born with them, everybody can acquire these to a greater degree. And this was a paradigm shift for them, because they had thought it mattered what you look like and how smart you are. That determined whether or not you would be successful, and what your ultimate value was. Now they realized that what really mattered was not those two things. There were all these other things that they already possessed that they could cultivate and emphasize and work on even more. And these qualities would help them in anything they were in. So my paradigm shift was that I thought these were a bunch of freeloaders that had come to a wedding to just eat and drink and didn't even know who the people were that were getting married. Now, they didn't know who they were, but they came there to make them happy because they didn't care who they were. They found out there was a wedding and they wanted to go and dance. I would have never done something like that as a child. So for me, it was a paradigm shift, because I looked at this group of people, and within a few minutes I realized I had completely misunderstood what was going on with them. And their paradigm shift was that intelligence and looks is not the key to success. It is not what brings you value. It's these other qualities that they already had inside of them. So their paradigm shift was that they had value based on qualities that they could cultivate and that they already had. Thank you very much for watching.